Exploring the Cackalackys, episode number 3. I'm here with Cody Self. He is the superintendent at Southern Pines Golf Club. We are here in Southern Pines in the clubhouse and bring you episode 3. So, question number 1 for you, Cody. How did you get into golf course management? What is your story? What's your background?
Well, I got into golf course management via my great uncle, who was a golf course superintendent in Virginia for like 60 years. Started the Shenandoah Valley chapter up there. I just thought he was the coolest old guy growing up. Knew how to fly a plane, has on landing strip. Watching old 45s with him. Rolled up cigars. Shooting guns and stuff. Had golf carts growing up, so just riding around those old golf carts and he had this old Jacobson mower from like the 1960s, and just hearing old stories about how golf was back in the day. He started out, they were building Fairfax Country Club, and him and one of his friends were like maybe 10, 11 years old when they're building this club and didn't know nothing about golf. And they're like, we're going to build a golf club here. And then he started out caddying, as for nothing basically, back then. And then worked his way up all the way to superintendent, no formal education. Worked his way up to a superintendent and did that for 60 years, retiring in like 2001 or 3. He was just the coolest little dude, someone I always looked up to. And so that's kind of what got me into the business. He used to bring buckets of balls. And we had like 16 acres growing up. And so he'd bring buckets of balls, and I just used to hit them into the hayfield, And then once I got old enough to mow, I scout down this big old circle in my parents' yard, dug a hole, put a cup in there, a piece of rebar, and like a old one of those little triangle flags, and had 3 different teeing areas to hit to that one pin. And me and my friends just go out there and just hit balls with that thing. And so that was kind of how I got into golf course management.
So, you just mentioned you had a 3-hole golf course that you mowed into your parents' yard. What was your course record, and did you have any hole-in-ones?
I've never had a hole-in-one, to my knowledge, that I can remember. Course record, I don't know if there was a course record. We just had fun back then.
Okay.
But I will say that I was probably the best golfer out of my friends that we played at the time. And, had to be a little tricky. There's a couple of shots not by the house. I didn't want to hit the house. Definitely glad more of my friends were slicers than hookers. Growing up, that could have been bad for sure. But one of them was about a 70-yard par 3, and then we had another one that was basically a par 4, kind of dog-legged, around the house, and went down to a flat area, and then you just had that guy chip, to the green, and the other one was up on a hill, and you actually had to hit over a road and in between 2 Bradford pears to get to it. So,
Okay.
So it was a little bit more interesting, but it was legit.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
it was legit.
Did you guys ever do any like team stuff, or did you like host little tournaments? Would you?
No, this was just usually like during the summer, 11 to 14-year-old, guys just kind of, hanging out and hitting golf balls, We wasn't at my house, we was at my other buddy's house, and we'd ride bikes to the community pool, and so then you swim all day, then you had to ride your bike, back 5 miles back to his house, man, straight uphill the whole way. It's downhill all the way there, but it's straight uphill all the way back, man. You'd be so tired by the last mile, you just pushing it.
Yeah.
Because you're swimming all day.
Question number 3 for you, Cody. What courses have you worked at?
Well, I've been pretty fortunate over the years to work at many great golf courses. I started out, I interned at Wade Hampton up in the mountains, up in Cashiers, North Carolina, under Tom Bailey. Then I went to the Powderhorn in Wyoming, actually. It's 27-hole golf course, really excellent design. A lot of people probably haven't heard of it, but they have like a short parkland course, and they have like a mountain links course, and then they have almost like a championship 9 as well. So 27 holes, completely unique, just an absolutely gorgeous setting as well in the Bighorn Mountains. Mr. Bush does just a fantastic job maintaining that place. He's been there probably almost 20 years now. Just does a really good job. Then after that, I was fortunate enough to go to the Ocean Course at Kiowa, and I was one of 4 interns there to work the PGA Championship when they held it in 2012. Really great experience. Jeff Stone, superintendent there, just top notch. One of the best guys I've ever worked for. And so after that, went back, finished my last semester in college. Then I went and actually managed an 18-hole golf course in West Tennessee. Then it got bought out. Now it's closed down altogether. But at the time, I was trying to grow into Tiff Eagle Greens there. And then when that kind of happened, then after that, part of my life, I moved down here actually to the Pinehurst area and started working as an assistant at Pine Needles. We held, and it was a very good year, for the area in general. Coming out of the recession, Pinehurst hosted the men and women's U.S. Open back to back. So I kind of got down here, and then we got our feet wet, and doing that. And then next year went to Mid Pines. Some things changed, inside the management. So I went to Mid Pines, worked over there for a year and a half. Pine Needles decided to do a renovation. So I went back to Pine Needles, worked over there for, 6 months or something like that. The day we opened up Pine Needles, I went back to Mid Pines. And then I worked at Mid Pines again until 2019 when we held the Women's Senior Open. And I went back to Pine Needles to help with the Women's Senior Open. Then I want to say the week after the Women's Senior Open, I left, went to Sweden's Cove, and helped build a putting course over there. And we moved their clubhouse, the parking lot. Did a lot of work over there. Real great guys over there. Rob Collins, Brett, who was the superintendent over there now. Now it's Chris Settles, Matt Adamski. Really good guys. They do a really good job in the experience that the golfer has. There's no place that I know of like kind of Sweden's Cove in regards to the experience that a golfer has, and I think that's why people keep on going back. And then I got an opportunity. I was driving probably about an hour to work every day. And crossing time zones from Eastern to Central. And so I was leaving to go to work at, 5:30, 6. I was getting to work at 6 because there's an hour time difference. But then when I was leaving to come home, let's say I left work at 3:30 because of traffic, I wasn't getting home till 5:30.
Yeah.
And so, and then I got an opportunity to drive 8 miles to work and work at a really nice Don Ross golf course on the Tennessee River called Chattanooga Golf and Country Club. Really good golf course. Jeff Hollister's been there since like '89 or something like that. So he knows that property like the back of his hand. Does a phenomenal job there. And then they bought Southern Pines Golf Club, and and then some things happened here. And anyway, and I got a phone call from the superintendent at Pine Needles. Said, "Hey man, you're interested? Southern Pines opened up." I said, "Yeah, man. My lowest round ever was here at one point in time before the reno. Really enjoyed the place. The topography here is unmatched for the area. I knew it could be special, and Kyle Franz obviously did a phenomenal job here. Getting it special. And that has to do a lot with the Miller, Bale, Haresh, all of them having a vision, to bring this place back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came here during the renovation. A lot of the main stuff was done, but we hadn't sprigged the greens yet, so I came in during the middle of the sprigging of the greens and grew them in. And since then, we did an awful lot of work to this place. We've redid all the cart paths, built a half-acre putting course, new pump station, add like 50 bunkers, Just probably cut down like 1,300 trees. It's just been a phenomenal, extend their driving range like 75 yards. Added top tracer, brand new city water line. I mean, just a brand new irrigation system. Basically, it's been a lot of work, but I hope that people at the end of the day can really see this place for what it is and what's going to get there.
Yeah.
So,
Question number 4 for you. What does a superintendent do?
well, that is a very good question. I would say it's jack of all trades, master of none. You have to know how to do a lot of things.
Mm.
Get phone calls for everything. We do a lot of stuff in house here to try to save, money, be as efficient as possible. I put in a half mile of city water line this year in house. But for a golf course superintendent, for me, look at the weather. I plan the next week, the week before. Looking at the weather, looking at what golf we have, constant communication with the clubhouse to where they know exactly what's going on. Because at the end of the day, the player's experience is what's most important. You want to be as efficient as possible. You don't want to be out there doing a major project when you got 200 people on the golf books. You want to try to do something like that when you got 20 people on the golf books.
Mm-hmm.
But I say managing adaptation and everything that comes, there's no 2 days that are the same on a golf course. Between weather, people, personnel, golf, everything's different. You're not going to change. Typically, you don't change cups. And mow fairways 7 days a week. I mean, you're not going to do that. You're mowing fairways 2 or 3 days a week. You're mowing greens 5 to 7 days a week. But you're not giving a break and roll. You're not doing a cleanup every day. So every day is different. You're not going in and doing the same thing every day. A lot of it's riding the course, making sure that what is supposed to get done gets done, but then also adding to your list. I have a revolving list. I have a high priority list, and I probably got 6 or 7 pages of lower priority stuff that that we're always just trying to make the course better and the experience better. The biggest thing is for a golf course superintendent, I feel like, is getting the turf conditions optimal for the playing experience. For a Don Ross, for us, I feel like it's very important to have firm, fast conditions. You won't be mowed out. You won't be able people to be able to bump and run or put up a green. Somebody hits a ball short on a false front. You don't want that ball to stick up there. You expect that ball to roll down 40 yards. And that's I mean, it's fair or unfair. I mean, that's the experience of playing a Don Ross.
Mm-hmm.
You're not expecting to hit it and stick it, within, your ball just to sit there. That ball's going to bounce. That ball's going to roll. You're going to have break in your greens. Somebody, people ask all the time, you stamp it, you do this, you do that. I have 2 putters in my cart. You probably saw earlier, and I put on the greens all the time. Make sure that we're consistent, and that we're rolling, we're smooth, those type of things. But to find a 13-foot spot on my greens that are less than 1% slope, good luck. It just ain't gonna happen. That's just not who we are. But what we are is fun, and golf course superintendent is supposed to provide great turf conditions and have it to where the golfer's not being impeded upon as little as possible to give those conditions, and for the golfers to have fun. That's the biggest thing. Is you want people to come here and say, "I got my money's worth. I had a great time. I want to come back."
Okay. Is there a favorite, project or aspect to what you do?
Ooh, I love projects. I absolutely love projects. I love being able to change things, make them better. Whether that's putting in, a line or a capillary concrete in a bunk, or whether that's building a new tee, doing new cart paths, cutting down trees to open up, a different view or get more sunlight onto a green, to make it healthier. There is so much behind the scenes stuff that, the golfer doesn't, realize, it's a lot of those, you just mow grass, right? Or, this or that. Man, I only wish. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually mowed grass. My job daily is to make sure that, the details, the little things. It's a big difference in what separates, your $30 golf course, your $200 golf course. And it ain't always budget. It's about the details and really deep diving into the work. There's not a whole lot of sitting around. And there's not a whole lot of you know people oh, they're drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. I mean, that's just not how it is no more. I mean, you don't have 20 people crews. I'm running on a crew of 8 guys to manage this place, and it's intensive. And we work 12 days on, 2 days off all year round. And it's not for everybody, especially getting up 5:30 in the morning, at least, and doing it. Really enjoy projects. Just the putting course that we built. That was a 3-story building, and now it's this gorgeous putting course. That's fun for everybody. At the That's going to be here longer than I will be. And to have people and come back, or my grandkids, or whoever can say, all right, hey, that's something that we did. So I think that's really great. Like I told you before, I really enjoy when I leave work every day. I know exactly what we got done. I can show somebody what we did. It's just a sense of accomplishment. It's not you're getting paperwork done and then there's more paperwork there. It's like, well, what'd you do today? Like I can show you exactly what we did every day, and I think I really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. How far in advance do you plan out projects or changes to the course? Kind of what does that process look like?
Well, it just depends on what size the project is. Is it something we can do in house, or do we have to bring somebody else in? And then a lot just depends on play, and budget. What's the capital budget? And what's left for the year, or different things like the pump house. I mean, hopefully we're going to get it online pretty soon. We're waiting on a few things electrical wise, but that's been in the planning for 3 years now. You know, um, you know, but then we'll let's say build a tee. We built a tee on 17 or earlier this year. That was we probably had that planned out for about 3 months. But then a lot just depends on how much is affecting play. If you're redoing irrigation, or are you going to shut down a hole or a course? I mean, a lot of that, that takes years. A lot of these golf course renovations, are planned out 3 to 7 years in advance at least to get the capital up. But also, these architects themselves are really busy. So you got to be able to fit in their schedule. And so a lot just depends, on how far out. It depends a lot on the size of the project.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more than anything. But like the putting course over here was already kind of a blank slate, just a big old open hole, and and we talked about it, and then within 3 or 4 months they were on the ground, and within 2 months we had it built.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say we built a half-acre putting course, in 7-8 months. With the planning, it just been like I went to Sweden's Cove. I was there for a week and we broke ground, on the putting course, and that thing just moved very quickly. I think it was one of those things they got the investors that they needed, and they had their vision, of what they wanted to do, but they had to get in place. And as soon as they got in place, they're like, let's go, let's do it. And that's what they did.
Question number 6. So Southern Pines went through a restoration process that was completed in 2021. And what was your role in that process?
Well, I got here a little late in the process of the renovation. I wasn't here at the very beginning. I got brought in during the grow-in stage. I got brought in the week before we started sprigging. So I was here for the full grow-in. I'd done previous grow-ins at, I said I grew in the putting course at Sweden's, helped with that. We grew in pine needles before, and then I had a Tiff Eagle experience before then. And so I had some grow-in experience, growing in greens. And since then, we've grown in, the course here. Then we did the putting course, and I've done a nursery. So I mean, we've done 3 grow-ins here basically, since I've been here. And so, but the biggest thing is, like I said, like we talked about earlier, the details. Getting sure that what the vision is and what you have available resource-wise that you can get done. And being able to manage that. The golf course and the golf course budget, that is the largest, asset, slash liability, to a club. I mean, nobody's flying across the country, or we're not doing this interview to talk about the burger here. We're here about the golf course, and that's important. I mean, that's your biggest focus. There's no clubhouse if there's not a golf course, and so people think, I think sometimes people look down, upon, the maintenance side of it, but managing budgets, and being efficient with that, that's the highest priority. And so, during the restoration, I think it's, keeping people on track, you know, making sure that we're moving along and finishing off. It's one thing to move the dirt. It's another thing to finish it and get it grassed and get it grown in, and get to turf conditions, playing conditions, the firm and the fast, you know, you know, before you open up.
Mm-hmm.
I think, that's something that, I try to pride myself on, is the turf conditions, the playing conditions. I want people when they leave here to say, those are really good greens. You know, um, you know, you might have a divot in the fairway, but I sure don't want a bad spot on one of my greens.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And so, the restoration for us is, since the renovation started in December of 2020, the things that we've done here, is we've added like 50 bunkers. We've totally redone the greens, reshaped the greens, moved greens, um, brand new heads everywhere, brand new wire, brand new greens loops. We've completely redone the cart paths. We've extended the driving range, 75 yards, cut down probably 1,300 trees. A lot of maintenance shop, we've completely painted the outside of the maintenance shop, inside the maintenance shop, new roof. We've added new city water line to the halfway house, to the clubhouse, to the maintenance facilities. Um, we've repaved the lower parking lot, added top tracer, put in the putting course, just a lot of work that, has been involved, and we're not done yet. I'll show you some pictures later. There's going to be brand new cottages out here, and the clubhouse is getting redone, and so, just going to add to the experience. Of Southern Pines Golf Club, and hopefully, the conditions and the things just continue to get better and better. So,
wow, that's awesome. All right, question number 7. You said you get asked a lot, what's your favorite hole? So my question for you, what's your least favorite hole? If there's one hole you could change, what would you do? Which hole is that, and what would you do to it?
At Southern Pines, or just in general?
Let's do. Why not both?
So for the company, I would change number 3 at Mid Pines.
Okay.
I'd raise up the fairway, make it a little wider, cut into the trees over there. It's a wet hole, can't see the green. Your tee shot leads you to the left, but you think or leads you more towards the right, but it's no man's land to the right. So you got to hit left, and a lot of people hit left or straight. I would say, you're in the woods there too. So I would say the back nine at Mid Pines is one of my favorite back nines ever, and I can go into more to that. But 17 great holes in one. Okay. A hole that I would change here. It's a good question. We've done a lot of work, to this to really improve. I'll tell you something I would change. And Kyle Franz, you're seeing this. I apologize, but I would love to add a front right bowl pin placement on number 4. 4 is such a great green, but I think like a front right bowl placement. If they could have softened that and made that, where you had this totally unique front pin placement up on a plateau, and then you had one in the bowl, I think that would have been really, really, really cool to do, especially because you're hitting uphill into that hole.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could have been really cool. I don't know how much Don Ross that would be,
Yeah.
but I think that would have been something really cool to do um, in that regards. But there's a couple other little things, that you can always tweak, in regards to bunkering,
Hmm.
or different things like that, moving water. Um, but it's a very aesthetically pleasing golf course, with the topography and that type of deal. A lot of people cuss the mound on the front of 13, but then if you talk to, Ram Morset, he's a writer for, Golf Magazine, and runs Golf Club Atlas. He absolutely loves that mound. Like thanks the world of that mound. And but I have another member. He cusses that mound. I mean, he'll tell you. He goes, he's like, well, I don't know which side the pin's on. When I hit over my tee shot, I'm like, you should have looked at that when he was on the 11. When you were driving by. Like you play here enough, you should know. But no, I think there's some really good things that they've done here. But that is one thing I think would be kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Um, would be that. So
Gotcha. And that actually reminds me, I was listening to a podcast. I want to say it was the Leave the Pin podcast that I was listening to. And they mentioned that I guess they used to sell here a shirt that said FDR. Are you familiar with that?
So they may have. I've heard that. It means Mr. Donald Ross.
Yeah.
And then I know some of the new members. It's now it's FKF.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Kyle Franz. I had a couple of them tell me that. Since Kyle redone the place.
Yeah.
So we don't sell that shirt no more. Now it says Got Ross.
Yeah.
They could have said Got Franz. If you want to say that. But now it's got Ross, and some people definitely got Ross, we was talking about earlier on 7 or 9. If you're short of that green, you're getting Rossed, not in a good way. 10's another one. He's soft from the front of 10. Used to be a good sized bowl there, and he softened it up. But that front going up to 10, if you're short and you got some backspin on that thing, I mean, you're looking back 50 yards, back up to that thing. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some people, it's like the turtleback greens at number 2,
Yeah.
You think you get the perfect shot, and the next thing you know, you did not hit the perfect shot, or you had too much spin, or the greens are too fast, or whatever. And the next thing you know, it's like, FDR,
Yeah. Yeah, when I
this
walked
ain't Franklin Delano Roosevelt,
when I walked in the pro shop this morning, I was like, I kind of hope they have that shirt because I want an FDR shirt.
Now there's just something that says Got Ross.
Yeah, might have to get the Got Ross one.
A little bit more politically correct.
Yep. Question number 8. So we have the men's U.S. Open coming to Pinehurst this year in June. Does that change what you guys are doing? Are you guys doing anything kind of special for that time?
I wouldn't say golf course maintenance or anything special. Obviously, we're not going to be airifying that week or the week before. I mean, we'll definitely make sure that we push that back a little bit. For us, it's just making sure we're on top of our game. Pinehurst area, that resort already has a great representation. But we're trying to, also get people to come and, see other Don Ross golf courses,
Mm-hmm.
During that week, and I think our company has 3 of the best, I mean, I think we got 3 of them in the top 100 public, right now in, the United States, and so, I mean, I think, that's special, and then you think about, you got, number 2 and you got number 4, also, in there if you still, want to consider number 4, Don Ross, and so having 5, like that, such a close proximity, I think, that's special, and we want to try to, grab a hold of that. So we're, hopefully have really great turf conditions, course conditions. Hopefully, don't get a whole lot of rain that week. I remember last time we had the men's U.S. Open here, I think Pinehurst got 3 or 4 inches of rain, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, and, just wrecked it. It was a lot of work getting that stuff back together. Hopefully we don't have that. And hopefully, it goes great. And the biggest thing for us is just, having a welcoming experience for everybody coming in. There's a lot of people who might be their first time in Pinehurst, come in for the Open, but then there might be a lot of other people who they have been here, but maybe they haven't played Southern Pines since the renovation, or Pine Hills or Mid Pines since their renovation. And so, we really want to welcome those people back, and just hope that they have a great time. And so I say, fully staffed, hotels, the lodge hopefully going to be booked. We might be doing, shotguns or double shotguns those days to try to get as many people through as possible, um, to hopefully enjoy our place.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, is you just want people when they come here to really feel like they experienced it. So,
Lightning round. Couple questions.
all right.
Just kind of first thing that kind of comes to mind. I'm gonna fire them off. Favorite golf course?
The Ocean Course. Favorite back nine or nine in general would be Mid Pines back nine.
Favorite designer, architect?
I would say Don Ross and Corn Crenshaw.
Favorite piece of machinery you get to use?
Ooh, favorite piece of machinery. Backhoe's always, a favorite thing. I would say a skid steer. I'd say a skid steer. That means we're doing some projects, doing some work, and those are always pretty fun to use.
What in the world is skid steer?
They say a bobcat.
Okay.
That's the the generic name. It'd be like saying a string trimmer versus a weed eater.
Yeah.
The skid steer is the common name. That either tracks or buckets.
Yeah.
But do a lot of chainsaw work here. Just in general day maintenance. You can say a greens mower or a top dresser, but do a lot of work with that. Especially during the season.
Got it. Favorite part of your job?
But riding around in the mornings, checking out the golf course, seeing the sun come up, just the vistas, just really enjoying, appreciating and seeing the work done the previous days or everything that's led up to it. Just seeing the change, a beautiful sunrise in the morning out on the golf course, man, few things beat it, let me tell you. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy what I do work-wise. But sometimes those mornings are special.
Absolutely. All right, Cody, that's all I got for you.
I appreciate it. It's good.
Thank you for letting me come out here. Guys, if you haven't been to Southern Pines, this place is awesome. Cody got to drive me around for my very first time. I absolutely love this course, love the feel of it. It's awesome what Cody's doing. You can see his passion for what he's doing here, and that's awesome because it shows itself in the course. So, Cody, thank you again.
Glad to have you.